In this video, we're going to talk about dividing unit fractions by whole numbers. And remember from the last video that a unit fraction is a fraction with 1 as the numerator. In this first example, we're going to be taking 1/2 and dividing it into 2.
So the first step is to draw the fraction bar for that fraction. So we're going to draw a fraction bar and we're going to cut it up into halves because our fraction is 1/2.
And we're going to shade to show the 1/2. So we'll shade
1 out of the 2 pieces.
Then we need to take each half and divide it by the whole number. So I'm going to take this half and divide it into 2 pieces. And I'm going to take this half and divide it into 2 pieces.
Now I'm going to shade one of the new pieces.
Just 1. Now my quotient will be the fraction that the new piece represents. So I see I have 1/4 shaded.
Because there was 1 here and we cut it up to create fourths. So our answer is 1/4.
And if you think about it, that makes sense because if you have 1/2 and you divide 1/2 into 2 pieces, then we normally think about that as being 1/4.
Here are the steps that we did in the previous problem to divide a unit fraction by a whole number.
We drew the fraction bar for the actual fraction, which was the 1/2.
And we shaded the fraction.
Then we took our whole fraction and we divided each piece by the whole number,
which was 2. And we shaded only one of the new pieces.
And then we decided what the new piece represented.
So let's do 2 more examples.
The first thing we're going to do is draw a hole and represent it with our fraction. So we'll draw one hole and then we'll cut it up into fourths because that's what our fraction is. Then we're going to shade in the fraction. So we're going to shade in 1/4.
Because we want to divide 1/4 by 3, we are going to now divide that fourth into 3 pieces.
And I'm going to do it all at once so that each of the fourths I'm cutting into 3 pieces. So I have 1 cut and 2 cuts, and you can see how I made each of the fourths into 3 additional pieces.
Now we're going to shade in one of the new pieces that we have. So we're going to get a different color and shade in one of those pieces right there.
And then we have to decide what is the value of that one piece.
So we know that it's only 1 piece, and because we divided the fourths into 3 additional pieces, we created twelfths. So 1/4 divided by 3 equals 1/12, and you can visually see that there's that 1 piece out of a total of 12 now.
Our next example is going to be 1/3 divided by 5. So we're going to make our fraction bar and we're going to cut it up into thirds.
And we'll shade the fraction 1/3. And then we'll divide that into 5 groups.
So we'll take each of the thirds. Here's 1 of the thirds, 2 of the thirds, and 3 of the thirds. We're going to cut each one of them into 5 additional pieces. So I'm just going to go across.
And we're using the separate color to represent that this is when we're dividing by 5. Next we will shade in one of our new pieces.
So now we're going to look at that one new piece, which will be our numerator, and see what it is in relationship to the whole now. We now have 15 pieces. So when we divide 1/3 by 5, we get 1/15.